You're locked into the Womanora Crush Wednesday podcast, the only weekly podcast inspiring, educating, motivating 1 million women entrepreneurs one Wednesday at a time. The WCW podcast is fueled by the purpose formula: passion plus purpose plus profit equals success. And here are your hosts, Jen and Modi.
You are listening to episode 2 of the Womenora Crush Wednesday podcast. We are so super excited for some business girl talk with our WCWs this week. Maureen and Jessica, business BFFs since 8th grade, from Miss Naturally Crowned Carolina, Columbia, South Carolina's first natural hair beauty pageant, founded in December 2013. Naturally Crowned is now recognized as a global pioneer for the natural hair beauty pageant concept. It has inspired events in Brazil, Paris, the UK, and elsewhere in the US. It's even caught the attention of major media giants like Black Enterprise, Madame Noir, and naturallycurly.com. Let's get into this episode, Crushes. Hey, Crushes. Hey, Maureen.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing well, thank you.
Hey, Jessica.
Hey,
welcome.
how are you? Thank you.
Welcome to Womenora Crush Wednesday podcast, and we're so excited to have you guys here for our first episode.
We're excited too.
Okay, so from looking at everything online and following you guys, we want to know, how did you guys meet?
Oh, wow. Were you like 12 or something? First of all, Maureen didn't like me when she met me, but of course we're now best friends. But I think we were 12 and it was like 8th grade and she was having a birthday party. And so there were a couple, maybe like 15 Black kids in our class. And so she invited me to the party and we met there. And ever since we've been friends.
Wow. That's a really long time, but
yeah.
How did you guys decide to become business partners then?
Well, we went to middle school, and we followed each other to Atlanta. We both went to school down there.
Okay.
Atlanta, Jessica moved back, and I think we were just talking one day on New Year's Eve, and we were just talking about girl stuff, and then we were trying to brainstorm ideas of things to do in terms of business wise. And then one thing we had in common was this natural hair problem, especially with Jessica moving back. The resources were a little bit more limited to her in Columbia than they were in Atlanta in terms of stuff to put on your hair. So we just sat there, brainstormed, and, put it on paper and said, let's do it.
Good. That's awesome. How you guys are able to just go from friendship to business and keep it going.
Yeah.
They gave us a lot of warnings. They were like, don't go to business with your best friend. I was like,
no, they're never going to be friends again. But because like you said, it's been so long, I think we know each other very well, number one, and then we know the other strengths very well. So I can't add. I don't do any adding. Maureen is an engineer. She does all the numbers. So we just know what the other can do. And we just, we know our roles. And I think that helps a lot too.
Yeah, I bet. To play off each other's strengths and weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
Teamwork.
Yeah, teamwork makes the dream work, of course.
Absolutely.
What do you have any key pieces of advice for our listeners on how to maintain your business partnership, how to grow, how to feed off of each other?
I think communication, of course, as in any relationship, is most important. Maureen is still an engineer full-time, and she has been since we started the pageant. And I had a job the first year that we did the pageant, and we just continued throughout the day while she was at work and I was at work. We'd be on G-Chat hey, look at this website. Hey, look at this logo. Hey, what do you think about these colors? And she's like, hold on, I got to go check to see if the power's on in Georgia. And, so we would just keep in contact with each other, be very open and transparent. If it's a partnership, there isn't anything you should hide. Just lay everything out on the table and discuss things and make sure that you can make decisions together.
That's great advice. You guys sound like us. Where throughout the day we have like so many text messages we can't go. You can't even scroll through to keep track.
Yes.
Going back and forth.
We actually see that you guys are having a your third annual Miss Naturally Crowned Carolina pageant. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
I can take it. Yeah, so just to give you a little bit of background, the pageant was actually initially just going to be a fundraiser for a natural hair boutique we wanted to open. And but after the first year, it kind of just took off on its own. We got a lot of really, really good feedback on it. It was sold out the first year. A lot of the contestants went on to do just amazing things. So it was like, we have to bring this back. So we're fortunate enough to have it for the third year. A lot of things don't last 3 years. And I feel like once you make it past year 3, it's a go. So
wow, definitely.
This year, we're able to not only have a third pageant, but actually expand into 2 additional cities. So the first one's going to be April 16th in Columbia, South Carolina. That's been where we've had the last 2. So that's, kind of our bread and butter city. But this year we're fortunate enough to take it on to Charleston, South Carolina, which is a great area to be in, as part of a even larger natural expo going on there. And that's going to be June 24th. Yes, June 24th. And then we have another one in the future, still working out the kinks on that.
Working out the kinks.
We'll get everything out there. So we're really, really excited and shaping up to be really good so far.
Okay.
Congrats on your third year. That's really big to still, be having that much success.
Yeah. It's like having a baby. I mean, I don't have any kids, but I can imagine, like, she's 3 now. Like, what we're going to do this year. It's a lot of fun.
Right. Well,
that's definitely how it is. You turn around and they're however age, 2, 3, 4, 5, in a heartbeat.
And they got siblings.
They do have siblings because you guys have Quench now, which is something else that you guys are starting. So can you tell us a little bit about Quench?
Yeah, so Quench is actually the beauty supply store that Maureen mentioned. That was our original idea. That's how everything kind of came together. That New Year's Eve when we were sitting on her couch, we just thought, let's have a beauty supply store where, sort of like the natural hair Starbucks. You go to CVS now or Walgreens and you say, well, where's the natural hair stuff? And they point you to the aisle. And then you're just kind of standing there like, all right, I guess I got to buy everything to see how it works. But there's really no personal interaction. There's no product knowledge that's given. There's no sensory experience. And that's what we wanted to create, a place where women can go and feel supported in their decision to wear their hair naturally. Just to be a hub for the natural hair community, because as we all know, hair in the Black community is such a huge social topic. Mm-hmm. You go to the barbershops for your man and y'all are talking about everything. If you go to the salon, that's a place where if you ask a lot of stylists, they feel like they're, therapists a lot of times because it's a confidence thing. And so that's what this space would allow us to do. That's how this all, started. And then the pageant just kind of branched off as a way for us to remain relevant while we raised capital to get that store open.
Okay, sounds good.
And we do small, opening up a store is challenging. Mm-hmm. It's very capital intensive. I mean, I think we all that. And so we do small things here and there just to, test the community as well. We had a pop-up shop. I mean, the inventory in there sold, really, really fast. So there's obviously like a need for this. And we're just trying to, and it's also two-sided because our community needs this in terms of like women trying to go natural in the locally, but also a lot of these manufacturers for these products are Black female entrepreneurs. So it's almost two-sided. We're getting there, and because a lot of them sell online, and if you don't know the product, you don't know to find them online. There's not really like a lot of hubs to, and so a lot of these ladies are exposed during like, natural hair expos and things like that. But if you don't have a natural hair expo in your city, kind of like, what do you do? So we're trying to get them, in front of people's faces a little bit more. So it's actually like a twofold, helping. And I think I saw more of that with the pageant when we had vendors and things like that, because now they're picking up a lot of steam
Yeah.
Their products.
Yeah.
Okay. So I had another question about your pageant winners. Like, since this is your third year, you've had two. Can you tell us what is, have they grown in their business, or, what have they been doing, and what are their names?
Absolutely. So since 2013, that's when we announced, and then we had our first pageant in April. Our first year, we had 10 girls. Y'all add this up for me. I told you I'm not good numbers. We had 10 girls our first year, 6 girls last year, and this year we have 9. So that is
19. And
Maureen. That's all Maureen.
25?
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah, I was going to guess that. So we've had 25 girls come through the Naturally Crowned experience. And it's really just been phenomenal to see the things that they've done. So the way that you apply or that you qualify for the pageant is, of course, you have to have natural hair and you wear it in its textured state. So we don't do like blowouts or anything like that. We really want to celebrate the texture of your hair. The other way that you have to qualify is if you want to apply for a scholarship, then you would submit your transcript, or if you're, not in school for whatever reason, you can supply a 1-page business plan, and we'll give you funding for whatever your business idea may be, because we're in that space. We know what it's like to kind of need money, not have it. And $1,000 can go a long way depending on what your business is. And so our first year, our queen, Chanel Johnson, actually, she just got married, Chanel Lee, won $1,000 to further her photography career. And so since then, she's continued to book, and figure out what her niche is, clients with weddings and events and portraits and senior portraits, things like that. And then our second runner-up, Iman Edgers, she won a scholarship to continue in school, which she's doing. And then our third runner-up, I love this story because I'm a writer, and India Hill, who was our third runner-up the first year, actually entered the pageant. She was a digital marketing agent for a local news studio. And I guess a lot of the girls from just watching Maureen and I do this said, well, I kind of do have ideas I want to test out. Maybe I'll do it. And India was one of those people. She quit her job 2 weeks after the pageant. And so I'm over here like, that's great. Oh, no, that's crazy. And fast forward 2 years, and she's continued to work on her blog and her writing because she wants to be sort of like the next Oprah. And she was recently published in Teen Vogue twice. And she was featured in Southern Weddings magazine. So this pageant has been a platform, literally, not just for natural hair, but for the dreams of the women who wear it. These girls have gone on to continue to grow, and they really stay committed to whatever they have entered that pageant to do. And so it's really just been beyond what we ever imagined it would be.
Yes, I love
I love that, yeah.
What drives you, Maureen and Jessica? Can you just tell us, what drives you in the morning? When you wake up in the morning and you think of, your business, what drives you?
Well, as Jessica mentioned, I still work full-time as an engineer. A lot of it is, this might sound weird, but a lot of it is inner peace with me. Just trying to find a way that I feel at peace inside. And all of that to me is finding a way to give back with my best skills. Doing the pageant, and even with Naturally Crowned, with Quench, it was a way for me, that's to me, it's like solving a local problem. People want, you want to get your hair done, whatever you want, to get that confidence with your hair, and you don't have that outlet. How can you really, it's kind of frustrating. In terms of, just getting up and going to work, I just started a new position here in Texas. I won't go into detail on what I do, but I work with renewable energy, basically trying to find more affordable energy sources for people. Long run, I want to help those who really can't be helped. This company is global, and so they do things where they try to source different areas where people can't build nuclear power plants and things are expensive, where you can pretty much light up your house with wind. And so when I do Naturally Crowned Carolina and I look at the impact on that, and I see the impact I'm doing in terms of the wind resource and everything, there's a way that they all merge, in a sense. It's because you're giving almost how do I word this? And I had it worded perfectly, y'all. It's the way
it's okay.
you're helping with like the skills that I have, the skill sets that I have, I'm giving everything that I can, you know, and even though the two areas are completely different, it's almost helping. I don't want to use the term helpless, but like people who just need a little bit of an, you know, the outlet. And I feel like I have that, not the key, but like the ability. I've been blessed with the ability to do that. So that alone just makes me more, the fact that I can impact other people. And something that I'm, you know, really passionate about, something that I really care about. So I think you first have to just really find that passion to wake you up, to get you going, because if it's not there, you're not going to want to get out of bed, to be honest. So
that's so true.
So true.
For me, aside from the stories that I just told you, with me being here on the ground, it's a little bit different because I literally feel like we have a responsibility to these girls. Like, we have created this idea. Neither one of us are pageant girls. And it was kind of crazy. And we just owe it to whoever decides to take part in it to make sure that we hold them in the best light, that we make sure that they really do succeed. So, like, when I wake up in the morning, I'm thinking, how can we make this better? How can we continue to have people come to us and say, oh my God, I attended the pageant and the next day I got a big chop. Like, I can't do the perms no more. And then, like, because it really happens that way. People of all ages, little girls, old women, people of all races, they come to us and they say, this is really, I didn't get it at first, but then I attended, and this is absolutely necessary. So like Maureen said, the fact that we're filling a void, not just, you know, in the marketplace, but like emotionally for a lot of people, I think that's like a big reason why I wake up in the morning and just go, you know, hammer.
That is just hit the floor running. That is great.
That actually leads us right into our next question / topic. We have this kind of mantra with our podcast, and we call it the purpose formula. So we have purpose, passion, profit equals success. And you guys kind of just sum that up with what you just said. What can you tell our crushes, our audience, about purpose, passion, and profit, and how that all ties in to create your success in your story?
Well, so for me personally, like, the pageant was a tester for my own creative energies, just to see. Previously, I've worked in the nonprofit sector. I went to law school for a year. I've done a lot in my, 28 years, just academically and everything like that. And so I always knew I wanted to do something creative, and I knew I was a bad employee, so I had to work for myself. And so when we created this pageant, the harder I went for it, the harder we worked together on it, the more I realized this is a system that can work. And maybe this is something I can turn into a business that allows me to serve others. And so the pageant really helped me find my purpose, to help other people tell their stories, to help them make their dreams come true. And that's everything that runs through the thread of what makes Naturally Crowned what it is. And I think, we fundraise, but we don't stress about, not being able to afford the biggest venue or not. We make it work where we can. And so we haven't lost money in a year. It's just, everything just comes together, because when you're working in your purpose, you don't have to really stretch so hard for some things. Everything just kind of comes to you. And that's how this has been in a lot of ways. So we were featured by Black Enterprise because one of our judges loved what we were doing, and she's a writer for Black Enterprise. And so, these are avenues that are created just because we're operating in our purpose. And, from that, people see it, they feel it, and they buy tickets, so we profit. And so it really is, your formula is awesome. That really is just what it is.
Yeah, I definitely agree. There's some days when I look at, what the pageant's been doing and a lot of the traction it's been getting, you just kind of step back and you're like, wow, it's almost who knew it even get to this point? And I agree with everything Jessica just said. When you're really doing something that you're passionate about, something that you believe in, it's almost, I wouldn't say the word effortless, because there's a lot of effort that goes in. But it's almost everything just kind of clicks naturally, you know. Even though we've hit some walls in terms of certain things that we wanted to do, but it's like you go through one way, there's a wall, then something completely different opens up, and you're going down an even bigger path. So I think once you really find that purpose, the passion will naturally come. And once you get that, you know, there's no way you can't be successful.
Yeah.
Yes, so
That's great. That's a tweetable. We'll be, you'll see that. You'll see that on our Twitter.
I have one other question actually, about organizations. If we were interested on becoming sponsors, for the pageant, how can an organization go about becoming a sponsor?
Absolutely. We have a number of ways. Everything we do is very flexible. So like Maureen said before, things just kind of come together. So if you're a sponsor, if you have a company that would like to get involved with the Naturally Crowned pageant, you can email us at info@naturallycrowned.com. You can also go straight to our digital sponsorship package. It's bit.ly/naturallycrowned. And you can view all of our sponsorship options there. We have program advertising, we have vendor opportunities, and then we also have, major event sponsorships. We also have pre-events, post-events. We do a lot of travel with the girls after, just to make sure that they remain active and relevant. And so there are a number of ways that people can get involved. If you have natural hair products, if you have cosmetics, we have musicians who debut music here every year. We've debuted a song from somebody. So the sky is really the limit. There's nobody that we can't figure out a way to work with them.
That's great. Have you guys had any issues, speaking of sponsorship, have you guys had any issues getting corporate dollars because of your particular niche, or any challenges with getting the sponsorships?
Our first year, and that's typical of first year events, people are like, it's kind of new, nobody's doing that, I don't know if it's going to work, so we'll see maybe later. But as we continue on, and I think the press that we get, just the word of mouth, it really helps people see that our event is something that's valid, it's worth investing in. And so this year, especially as we grow each year, we continue to grow our team. And so now we have sponsorship outreach and people on our team who help us make sure we can cover all our bases and get to the people who need and want to partner with us most. And we've actually been contacted by a couple major brands who are looking to partner with smaller events like ours because they see the value in them. Everybody's doing natural hair expos. Everybody's having natural hair meetups, but very few people are doing natural hair beauty pageants, and nobody's doing it the same way that we are. So I think the more we kind of make this event creative, and it's more attractive to sponsors because it's something that not everybody's doing.
So basically the niche that you guys have defined is what is helping you get that press and get those sponsorships.
Exactly.
Okay. So next we want to move on to, how do you guys find time to do all these different, they're not different, but to do everything that you're doing with Quench, with the Miss Naturally Crowned, with Maureen still working full time? Can you talk to us about your time management process, or just how do you do it? How do you do it?
I think that goes back to what Jessica said initially. It really comes down to trust. I'm not there in Columbia on the ground, so I can't. If I didn't trust Jessica, like, this would be the slowest process ever, because we'd have to go back and forth on everything. Jessica and I talk about the big ideas. This is what we want it to look like. And then since she's on the ground there, she does all that execution. I don't have to worry about that because I trust her 100%. If there's any way I can assist, I'll do my best, And it's the same thing on my end. We have different schedules. I'm pretty much tied up for 8 hours of the day. a lot of times. So we have to figure out a way to work around that, So it really comes down to trust, and it really comes down to communication. It's not easy. Since the inception of the pageant, we haven't lived in the same city. So we've never had that luxury of being able to do that. But obviously that's not anything that needs to stop you. It's 2016. There's ways to get around that, and still create a beneficial agenda or program. So I think it really comes down to trust. In terms of time management, we set a calendar. Let's try to stick to it, but we set a calendar, at the beginning. So we know the days and the weeks or the times that we need to make ourselves available. And then we just go back and forth. If something comes up last minute, it's a matter of just, you pretty much look at the calendar and find a way. I don't think we've ever had an issue where it just couldn't work for whatever reason. So.
Absolutely. And I also think, especially in terms of time management, I have my whole life been a crazy procrastinator, but there's something about announcing to a couple thousand people that you're going to do something by a certain date that makes you, okay, we got to make this happen. And so I think, that type of accountability, the accountability to the public has also played a major role in helping us kind of keep on track and grow the pageant, not too quickly, but year 3 seems right on time.
Good stuff. So lastly for me, I wanted to know what's next for Miss Naturally Crowned and Quench.
Well, I can start. Obviously, we want the pageant to keep going. That's been a success for us. So we're slowly expanding to other cities. We want to keep that going. We want to get it out as much as possible to as many cities as we can hit, because we do think that it's very impactful to local communities, especially those who may not get that, get a lot of, natural hair, any type of events coming through there. In terms of Quench, that's definitely still going to happen. We're slowly getting the eyes that we need, towards this. We're slowly starting to see, we saw it before, but we're seeing it even more, how much of a need it is. And like Jessica said, as the pageant has grown, we've gotten actual outside contacts from more recognition from these natural hair companies and other people who need the resources that we're providing. So, I can't put a number out there, but it's definitely coming. It's always an optimistic look every day with, even today when the Naturally Crowned Charleston stuff pops up, it just lights another fire underneath you to just keep going, So I'm excited to see where everything goes in the next few years.
And we'll be following you guys.
We're excited too.
Yeah. I have one last question. Any of you can answer it. Top 3 things that you would impart on a person that is trying to follow your footsteps.
Okay, you said the top 3 things that we would do what now?
That you would impart on someone. What kind of information would you give?
Okay.
3 things.
Well, one thing I would say is, first of all, just do it. I think a lot of people just are afraid to even just start, just take that first step. And you might fail, and that's okay, because you technically haven't failed, you learned, so just try it. A lot of people, you kind of get intimidated, I want to do this, and you go out there, you see, well, all these people are doing this, and is it really going to hit? Is it really that important? And then all these doubtful questions start popping up, and then you just stop for whatever reason. So Jessica and I we were 26. It was like, okay, let's go open up a beauty supply store. That was our first thing out of our mouths, it hasn't happened yet, but it's going to happen. But we've learned so much, and if we had stopped at that moment, who knows where we would have been today, So that's my first one.
And then mine, and this is kind of the thing that stuck in my mind the whole time, is never accept a no from someone who doesn't have the power to say yes. We get so many no's every day that we send this sponsorship package out. Just from, we get no's for all types of requests that we have. But if we were to let that stop us, kind of like Maureen said, you got to keep going. The no's, get through as many no's as you can to get to the yeses that matter. Don't let that be a deterrent for you.
I love it.
Nope.
Another thing I would say is don't be afraid to ask for help, or don't stop seeking knowledge. There's people who have done this before. There are people who have started a company or, become an entrepreneur or stepped out on their own or try to juggle both. Talk to them and see, get some advice, get some input. Sometimes you don't have to do everything yourself. You don't have to bear the burden yourself. But like Jessica said, don't let somebody tell you no who doesn't have the right to tell you no.
Yes. Well,
Gems. Those are gems.
Yes, they are. Thank you so much, ladies, for gracing us today with your presence on our very first podcast this evening.
Thank you so much.
We truly appreciate it.
Yeah, you guys are our first crushes, our first WCWs of our podcast.
Yay!
Yes.
So where can our audience find you guys? What are your handles?
We're on Instagram at Naturally Crowned Carolina. Our website is naturallycrowned.com. And we're on Twitter as Naturally Crowned, and CRWND is crowned on Twitter.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It was great talking to you.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to the Womanore Crush Wednesday podcast. Be sure to tune in next week for Girl Talk with Jen and Modi, along with some of your favorite business crushes, more exclusive business tips, insights, creative business ideas, and doable action steps to improve your business and help you create your phenomenal life. Sharing is caring. Don't forget to tell a friend to subscribe and stay tuned for a weekly dose of the WCW podcast. Crushing hard on the Womanore and want to hear her story on the show? Know a creative woman-owned business that's killing it? Let us know at womanorecrushwednesday@gmail.com.